Welcome to NDTR Spotlight, a show where we highlight former and current NDTRs. An NDTR, if you don't know, stands for Nutritionist Diet Technician Registered. They also go by the credential DTR, which stands for Diet Technician Registered. In order to become an NDTR, you have to graduate from an accredited program, take an exam, and participate in continual education. Welcome to NDTR Spotlight. I'm your host, Marie Lorraine. Today we have a really exciting interview for you. We do not have a DTR, but we have the founder of All Access Dietetics with us today. For anyone who's interested in becoming a dietitian. So a lot of DTRs do the DTR route and they do want to become a dietitian, and All Access Dietetics specializes in one-on-one coaching for helping future dietitians apply to dietetic internships. They do career coaching, they have a career toolkit, and they even help with RD exam preparation. We have the founder today, Jenny. So welcome, Jenny. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Marie, for having me. I'm excited.
Of course. And I love that we have you today, because usually when I first saw All Access Dietetics, I just thought dietitians, you don't work with DTRs, you just work with students who are going right to the RD credential, but you do work with DTRs. So I just want to start. Can you first just explain what All Access Dietetics is?
Sure, yes. So All Access Dietetics, I started that when I was 21. I was just graduating college in a DPD program. I had gone through the process of applying to dietetic internships, and it was crazy stressful. And I thought there needed to be a better way to support future dietitians in getting through that process. That's been 12 years now. And since then, it's really expanded. Our field has also changed in a lot of different ways. And so we now offer not only the internship application help, but even help before that, like with tutoring to get good grades so you can be more competitive for internships, as well as, like you said, the RD exam prep and career coaching, career development, just really making sure that future dietitians, no matter what their pathway is, just feel very confident each step of the way.
I love that. Sounds like you do a lot. And I know you offer a lot of free resources. I was talking with celiac dietitian, and she used your spreadsheet of dietetic programs that you have out there. Can you talk a little bit about what you have just out there for free right now?
Yeah, no, that was basically the first offering ever of All Access Dietetics. It was called All Access Internships when I first started it, and I created that whole spreadsheet. I went on every single internship program's website, created that, and it was a really great way to filter out by different qualities of programs and make it easier to find and shop for like your perfect fit programs depending on your interests and your financial situation and like the type of program that you wanted to do. So yeah, that's one great free resource. And then we also have kind of like a dietetic internship application starter kit. So things that actually help with the application process, like your personal statement, resume, DICAS application, choosing references, all of that good stuff to help people through that as well. Because most people have never done anything like a dietetic internship application before, so they can use all the help they can get. And then we do monthly webinars. There's things on our newsletter that we're constantly sending out. And our blog, there's like more than 100 blog posts with webinars, videos, and all sorts of tips. We have some things on the DTR as well, if you just search DTR on the blog. So yeah, we have as much as we can provide for free through that.
That's awesome. I love that you have all those resources, and then you also have the coaching and the things that someone wants to invest further to help them. So you mentioned that you have things about DTRs on your blog. Do you get a lot of DTRs for coaching?
Yeah, so we'll find them just because they will go through maybe a bachelor's program, DPD, and then they will either apply to an internship and not get matched in their first attempt, or they'll just decide, I want more work experience, or I want to go, make sure this career is right for me. So then they'll do the DTR exam and then decide, okay, yes, I do want to pursue the RD. So then we'll catch them where they want to apply for the internship program or to like a future education model program and go through it that way. But yeah, we definitely work with DTRs and think it's a great thing that they have the DTR.
Yeah. So you mentioned future education model. Can you what exactly is that for our
Yes.
listeners?
I know I've been spreading the word about
Yeah.
future education models to people because they are new. There have been like pilot future education models that have come out in the last couple of years, but now that's really like turning up because in 2024, a master's degree will be required for people to become dietitians. And because of this transition, you can imagine there's such a wide variety of people that are going through the process right now of becoming dietitians, whether it's in their DPD or in a master's program or whatever, like they're at all different stages and backgrounds. And so this future education model I've been telling people about, it's really great for either career changers or people that do not have a DPD program under their belt. So that could be some DTR people that if they just wanted to do a future education model, all they would need to do is maybe like 1 or 2 prerequisites to get into the program. And then it would be their master's plus their supervised practice all in one in like 2 years. So that really shortens the length of time that it could take someone who maybe, they still need the bachelor's degree, but who wants to just get to the RD as soon as possible. The future education model can be the right path for them.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds so new and very confusing. You did a very good job explaining it, but it's like the first time I'm hearing it. So do you do coaching for that specifically as well? And how does that look?
Mm-hmm. So, well, our signature program for coaching, it's called Get Matched Coaching. And the match refers to match day, where typically like the majority of programs are participating in what's called computer matching, and you get matched to one program on match day. It's like the most stressful, but also happiest day of the year for our clients. I don't know why they do it like that, but anyways, this future education model, many of the programs do participate in computer matching. So the process for applying would be similar, but there are some that will, do year-long rolling admissions and just take applications directly from their program. But all the future education model programs are in that database we were talking about previously. So either way, like we can help them, they can find them through that database, but then we can also help them apply for sure.
Okay, good. So it sounds like it's even with the switch, you're still gonna be able to help people with getting matched.
Exactly, because the process, the idea of selling yourself and marketing yourself to a program is still the same. So yeah, we can definitely accommodate them.
Yeah. So on that note of selling yourself and marketing yourself, the DTR brings usually some extra experience. Do you notice if the DTRs you work with, if they're able to stand out, or if they're able to stand out more on an application, or talk on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that they definitely stand out with just that real world experience, especially if they can put the credential to use. We will recommend it to our coaching clients that if a coaching client might start working with us 9 months before their application deadline, and at that point we can assess like what are some weaknesses or gaps that they can try to improve on before they apply. Many times we're saying take the DTR because it and then try to get a job with the DTR, but it can really help just show directors that you have that competency and that you can pass a credentialing exam. Credentialing, yeah, I said that right. Credentialing exam. I was like, I have not said that word in a while. And yeah, so similar to the RD exam, it's a similar setup and everything. That if you can show that you can pass that, then directors will feel more confident that you can pass the RD exam. And that's a great selling point for directors, especially if for some reason, if we have a client whose GPA is lower, or if their degree was maybe completed like 5 years ago or more, then we definitely would say that can help. But if they have the DTR already, amazing. And we hype that up in their personal statement and interview and all of that.
That's awesome. And I was talking to a dietitian now who was a DTR, and she said that the exams are very similar. So what you're saying with the program director is looking for that. There is some validity in that based on what I've heard. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to hear that you confirm that even more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So DTRs, usually there's a gap year. So have you noticed what are the biggest challenges that DTRs come with when they're applying to a dietetic internship? Like what are their concerns when they come to coaching for you?
Well, I think it's similar to any future dietitian that's just trying to navigate this and really the lack of confidence can be a challenge. I think that's where we, kind of like the secret sauce of coaching is that it can boost people's confidence. A lot of people will compare themselves to their classmates or to other people, or think that there's like some normal one path to get the RD credential, and that is so far from the truth. I do these free coaching calls, which anyone could do, for 15 minutes. And I talk with probably like 40 students a week, from all different backgrounds, all across the country, even in other countries. And I hear the pathways that people go on, and I see the background and the experience and, what they've done. And I can tell you it's so different, but as the key is just being confident in what you've done and knowing that all your hard work should pay off. If you want it bad enough and you're willing to put in the work to put together an awesome application, like, it's going to pay off. If I really think it won't, I'll let them know. But for the most part, it will work out for people if they just have the confidence in themselves and put the work in to make it happen.
Yeah. Wow, I love 40 students a week from different countries, and so I have to ask, so you're on the forefront of like dietitians coming into the field or creating dietitians. What is your thought on like diversity? Have you seen it changed over the 12 years of your coaching? Can you talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, no, I do think that there's been more diversity. I think also, even in backgrounds, like I mentioned, with career changers too, like where people are coming in with completely different careers, like from finance or from like teaching or like anything you can think of. So I've seen that as well, but also, yeah, the diversity and, even the distance dietetic internships where people can create their own programs by finding their own preceptors. That can be really helpful if you have like states that didn't have a lot of internships available to them, now have this option to stay in their state and still complete a dietetic internship. So I think that's been helpful too, to get more dietitians in states where maybe there weren't as many previously because of like the lack of education or lack of programs there. So that's been really good.
That's a really good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there's more opportunity with the distance programs, and now it sounds like the future learning thing that's new.
I know, yeah, and hopefully with that, like, I mean, there's a lot of opinions, obviously, on, I don't have my master's degree. That change for the master's degree has caused a lot of like concern about the accessibility of becoming a dietitian, which is absolutely a concern I would agree with. I'm talking to people and sometimes talking them out of doing a master's program if they don't have to, just to be able to save that money. Make it cheaper to become a dietitian. They can start working and then maybe go back and get the master's. Like, that's certainly a path that I encourage them to take, because a lot of times they're being told, get the master's by their academic advisors. And I'm telling them, like, not yet. If you don't have to, like, it needs to really work for you. You shouldn't feel pressured. So there's that angle. But yeah, otherwise, I think one hope is that there could be more financial aid or more scholarships through future education model programs, because they are connected with the school. So that would hopefully help that situation as well. But yeah, it's really interesting how much it's changing and how much it will continue to change through this 2024 switch in their requirements.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that's why I'm trying to spotlight DTRs now as just like another way of like, you can enter this field and then still, work your way to the dietitian, just like taking steps, like baby steps to that ultimate goal. So I appreciate you saying that you're not.
Absolutely. Yeah. People like it's just, we put up on our Instagram, like, there is no normal path. We said, like, dear future dietitian, there's no normal path to becoming a dietitian. I mean, I've seen all of it. I've seen, 55, 60-year-old women or men that become dietitians. It's like, you're never too late. There's no real timeline to follow.
Yeah, that's great. That's so great. So for someone who's interested in utilizing your services, what does it look like? One-on-one, what package would you recommend them to start with?
Sure. So if they're ready within the next year to start to apply to a dietetic internship or a future education model, then there's two options that we provide. One is called the Get Matched course, and that is self-paced, and you know work through the course on your own. You get all of the coaching strategies that I've gathered and come up with over the last 12 years, and all of the roadmap and every single step you need to take to go above and beyond in every part of the application. So that is one option. And then the other option is the more one-on-one support where they actually get the course. And that's our Get Matched coaching. And you get matched with a coach who guides them through every step from the programs to apply to the director communication they need to have, to all of the application materials, their interview. Like, it's all inclusive. There's weekly accountability emails, and just a lot of cheerleading and support that we will give, that the coach will give to their client. But that's all inclusive, and that's the program where we used to just help people with only the personal statement or only their resume, but we found that people were doing that, but then they were not doing well in the interview, or they weren't choosing the right programs to apply to. And so we really, if someone was going to invest in help, we wanted to make sure that they were going to get matched and that we could help them in all areas of their application. So that's a very all-inclusive program. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does sound like a really good program. And I think specifically for DTRs, usually there's that gap of school, so they're not talking to the professors all the time. So having that support, can you kind of talk a little bit how you're able to support that DTR and that like gap of like they're not connected to their school anymore, like there's 5 years in between? Or
yes, that you're exactly right, that's something that they'll say. They feel like they're on an island, that they're alone. They even, and especially right now with everything being remote, like even some online students feel alone right now because they're not on campus. But regardless, yeah, the DTRs, they feel like they are different from another applicant. They don't know how to use all their strengths that they have, and really sell them. And so that's where we come in to say, like, you know, pull out what are some great examples, or where is a time when you had a huge result on a patient or on your department, or some big project or some improvement you did with your to help your supervisor, your manager. Like, really help them pull out the wins that they've had in their career or in their job, and use that to their advantage. So that's really kind of the secret sauce in how we help them sell themselves, really.
yeah, that's great. I love that. So how's your success rate with the RD exam? How do you handle when your students don't pass? What's the coaching for that? And
yeah, the RD exam is interesting. So in 2017, that was when the new version of the test came out, and pass rates did fall from the previous 5-year exam, and we're still writing that out until it'll change in 2022, like right at the beginning of the year. So we still have one more year with this exam. I'm not sure if they'll make it easier or harder or whatever, but yeah, it's right now we are just under a year of offering Pass the Exam Prep, which is our study tool that also teaches what's called the Study Smarter method. We do think that what's missing in that space is teaching people how to study for this exam, because it is different than a college exam. You can't just cram everything in your brain and spit it out for the test like you maybe could in college. So we teach that, and then we also provide group review sessions and tutoring, depending on what people need. But going back to your question about the exam rate, we know we've had success with it so far, but we are collecting data still. We want to get to a certain number where we can share a percentage, but we feel really good that people will say, I would have never studied that way. It really helped to approach the exam differently, rather than trying to use like old study methods that just don't quite work the same for the RD exam.
Yeah. From taking the DTR exam, I know you can't just study, like what you're saying, you can't just study for it like a normal test. And I personally think it's worth investing in something, a program to help you get past it. Otherwise you're going to be taking it so many times.
Those fees add up too. You have to pay every time you want to take it. And yeah, at that point it is worth it. And that's why there's so many that exist now. But I do think the differentiator is how you actually study. and make those study hours count. I think that's what's so exciting. We partnered with the creator of the Study Smarter method to do this, and we thought that was what was missing and where people were really failing literally by following older study methods.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else you want to touch on about All Access and how you help DTRs with what you do?
Trying to think. I guess just I would share that, if a DTR is looking to make that leap to an RD, like there's a lot of resources out there to help you do that. I know if they don't know about All Access Dietetics, I think once you find it, you'll see that it's very much within your reach, and there's all these free resources and paid resources to help you do that. So hopefully if they just know about our website, that can be the push that they need and the support that they need to get their questions answered and feel confident that if this is something they want, they can definitely do it.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for watching this interview. Make sure to follow All Access Dietetics on Instagram. They have fun memes as well as free resources. So just something fun to have in the back of your, I don't know, whatever, or just have on your Instagram feed. And if you're interested in learning more about Jenny's personal story and her career, I have linked down below some of the podcasts she was featured in that you can listen to. Thanks so much for watching.